Have you heard of that story?
Yeah.
Aaron? The guy is a Navy SEAL, and like an emergency room doctor, and now an astronaut.
He's doing too much. And now
The rock
they
star,
have
too.
to share that space with Becky, who posts pictures of her butt
That's
on
true.
Instagram.
That's true.
If you are an influencer and you happen to be watching this, is you just have to stick with it. That's the thing. That's even what Joe says.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just gotta do it.
Just gotta do it.
Just gotta
gotta
do
Just
it.
gotta do it.
Is this like ancient alien shit like
No.
coming on there? Okay.
No.
No.
Aliens.
It's just like the concept
Aliens.
of time.
Aliens.
Like we have such a broad concept of like time.
I think that's the most comforting thing I could hear about our nation's future.
Yeah.
It's like
right.
we're gonna have a bunch of influencers, and everybody will be really happy.
To be the top 10%
For $5.99.
for $5.99. Show them.
This is
influencer
what
marketing.
we're talking about.
the pyramids.
Podcasts that talk about random stuff. and nothing.
Just are not gonna be
This is they're
successful.
just not gonna find success.
Freaking terrible.
No one's gonna like this at all.
Gosh.
Conspiracy theories. Gotta shoot down those
So-
balloons.
How can we start this? We
Do
can.
you know? Well, here's how we should start it.
Right now.
Do you know that now the number one desire among school age kids
To be a
is
YouTuber.
not becoming an astronaut, is not becoming a professional athlete, right?
It's a YouTuber.
It's becoming one of a few things: a gamer, which
Oh,
makes
yeah.
sense,
Makes
right?
sense. Yeah.
And an influencer. Influencer has broached the top three things that kids no longer astronaut,
Well,
no longer. I mean,
that is the most comforting
Not,
thing.
not
that
inspirational.
I think
Let's
I
go to
could
the
hear about.
moon.
I think that's the most comforting thing I could hear about our nation's future.
yeah.
It's like
right.
we're gonna have a bunch of influencers, and everybody will be really happy.
Everyone's gonna be a
It's-
self-helping
I think
coach,
it's-
or
it's-
they're all gonna be life coaches. You just gotta do it, man. Just do it.
Yeah, that's what I need, an 18-year-old to be my life coach, tell me what to do. But the problem with that is that they're going after the fame. It's the clout.
Oh,
It's the recognition, which I guess is the attractiveness. But again, you could have some of that with someone that's an astronaut, but you're actually doing something productive for
It's-
society.
It's the
Yeah.
modern day celebrity, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
and I guess like,
There's no more superstars anymore.
and that's what's like very different about the landscape of social media, is that back in the day, like, celebrities were bigger. I feel like, right? So movie stars were bigger, and they loomed much larger in everyone's attention. Like, celebrities had a lot more attention, and now
The rock
they
star,
have
too.
to share that space with Becky, who posts pictures of her butt
That's true.
on Instagram.
That's true.
And like, I feel like we have like there's so many more. There's so much
Well,
more.
They do that, and all they do is lip sync other people's the actual superstars'
Yeah,
content,
yeah.
and then they dance in front of a video. They do some weird choreography dance, and I suppose that's like, what have you contributed to society other than have a bunch of creeps follow you?
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
the thing though with influencers, the why we're even talking about this, is that there is some aspects to where using influencers to help advertise and push your product to an audience is beneficial as
Yeah.
far as actual getting return on investment.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's things you need to do to vet said influencer to make sure that the audience they have is actually legitimate.
Mhm.
There was an influencer. This like a couple years back. She had like 3 million followers on Instagram. Some T-shirt company paid her an wazoo crazy amount of money to do like a bunch of posts.
Mhm.
The first post she did sold like 2 T-shirts. She has 3.5 million followers, and after her posting and the company not getting sales, they did a bunch of reality check on
Mhm.
these followers. Most of them were bots.
Mm.
Yeah, so she bought fake traffic to make it look like because she wanted to be an influencer so bad to garner the fame, the wealth, whatever.
Wow.
And then you can now it's the company's fault for not doing their due diligence, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Could they sue? Sure, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But at the end of the day,
Mhm.
you just have to make sure.
We also have the
Yeah, so I
reverse
guess-
side of that. Gymshark. When they first came out, was it the guy came out in the UK?
oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, he
Yeah.
started from in his home.
Yeah, and then just started doing influencer marketing, and then overnight, like I think it was 1 year, just overnight, just influencers all over Instagram
exploded.
exploded
In the gym space.
In
Well,
the gym space.
yeah, it's-
the UK didn't really have a gym, like we have Under Armour
Yeah.
and Nike
Yeah.
and
Well, now it's
Adidas.
worldwide now.
well now it's
Yeah.
I mean, but even then I don't see as much Gymshark. Like you look at influencers there, anyone that's in the UK, it's always Gymshark.
Yeah.
Here it's a
Nike,
variety.
Under Armour.
it's a
Yeah, it's
variety.
a variety.
I do
Yeah.
see I see more younger crowds, like especially at like our gym. I do see some young people that do have Gymshark stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that stuff. I just have
I've
Under
tried
Armour.
it. Yeah, I like Under Armour better.
Yeah, I have Under Armour everything. But the thing is that UK didn't really have.
I
that
have my
niche fulfilled.
sweatpants from like high school.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is a real dad move, right?
Yeah.
there, right? Not giving a shit.
No.
Just showing up to the gym.
It's got milk
I don't care what
stains
people
from your
think of me.
kids.
I got these shorts with paint on them.
There you go.
That and the New Balance tennis shoes.
The 615s.
Yeah, that's right. I was mowing the lawn, so there's like grass stains on these white New Balances.
No, legit. Like for the first like 4 or 5 months at the gym, I was wearing these shoes that I mow the lawn in, and like there's grass stains
That's
all
great.
over.
That's great.
And
And
you
then
wearing
like I
jeans
was
sometimes?
slipping everywhere. No, I never wear jeans. That's
That's
done that.
that's a next level move.
That's too
I've done
much.
that.
There is a
Yeah.
guy
There are
that
people that do
shows
that.
up with a full jean suit on though.
Nice.
And
A
I
Canadian
just I
tuxedo,
respect
huh?
him so much.
Yeah.
Does he go in the sauna wearing that?
I have
Oh
no
my
idea.
God.
That'd be
No, he
miserable.
shows up and gets on the Stairmaster and goes home.
Wow.
Good for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. It's better than
I
doing
don't know.
nothing,
That'd be
right?
even worse than Stairmaster.
So I think what would be
Oh my
helpful
God.
for people listening too is really set the stage for why there is even a market for this on social media, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting that this is the way that cameras, like camera companies, is like the biggest realm for camera advertising has
Yep.
become YouTubers, because like if you are into photography, you can find all of your skill set. You can just go on YouTube and it's going to be there.
Yeah.
And then like all these YouTubers, whenever Canon comes out with a new camera, they send it to all the YouTubers
the
and then they give them a
popular
release
unboxing.
date.
Yep.
And so on that release date, every YouTuber that does camera reviews that you know is releasing their review of the camera on the same day,
Yep.
and then it's available for shipping that
And
day.
then for tech also as well. So you
Yeah.
have like Unbox Therapy, MKBHD, Markless. What's
I
his name?
love MKBHD.
Linus
love that
Tech
guy.
all
guys.
those companies send him stuff
Ah.
all the time.
And then Linus
um,
Tech Tips does just ridiculous builds and
Yeah,
it's-
Linus Tech Tips. That's in like the equipment space, and then you
Mhm.
have gamers as well.
Yeah.
All these big gamers get early access, and you see them doing full game playthroughs
Mhm.
to get more sales ahead.
I guess we should probably adjust our perception of what an influencer is from just Becky and her butt to also include like it's a major player in
Well, what's your
in like advertising, because
Yeah.
I'm realizing now that like I have been heavily influenced. Like I had for all my camera purchases.
Yeah, because
I've been heavily influenced.
what a company is doing when they choose an influencer marketing strategy
Mhm.
is they are trading in the credibility of that particular person and that credibility that person has amongst their audience that
Right.
follows them, right?
Yeah.
So among their followers, there's an inherent credibility to this person and what this person says, especially if they're giving photography tips, right?
Oh yeah.
This person's given me great tips in the past, which means now I
Yeah.
have a sense of trustworthiness in this individual.
Absolutely.
And that's powerful because when you just run an ad, you're reaching a cold audience that doesn't know you from anybody else except for the fact that they may recognize your name or they may not. They may experience your brand in the past or they may not.
Yeah.
But if it's an influencer that's saying this that I actually follow all the time and routinely get information from, I'm going to take what they have to say a little bit more seriously.
True. Now you have to take. When it comes to finding influencers, though, I think you have to be careful. So I would say even person buying the product. The problem is that when things are sponsored, then things aren't really technically authentic.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
and then bad perception can also destroy your company.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I give a prime example. A few months ago, you've probably seen the ad plenty of times. Established titles. You ever heard of that?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Where
Oh,
you
yeah.
you buy this land, one by a foot by foot acre of land in
Oh,
Scotland,
Scotland. So
and
you
then
become a lord in
you
Scotland.
become a lord in Scotland,
Yes.
and they were spending an godly amount of money on like
Yeah.
big from left and right. So like the Daily Show, like with Ben Shapiro was sponsored, and then you would have even left leaning Political people
yeah.
were sponsored by it. So many people were sponsored by established. They were selling so many of these things. Come to find out, it's a scam. If it said it was like a novelty or like this is like more of a what's the word I'm looking for?
Symbolic.
Yeah,
It's like
you're
buying
not-
land on the moon is like obviously a
You don't
symbolic
own it.
thing.
as long
you
as
know?
you stayed in
Yeah.
there that like this is just
Yeah.
this is a gag.
Naming a star.
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
Problem is they were not promoting it that way. They were promoting it as like no.
That there's an actual piece of land that
So
you were
You
getting.
own this parcel.
It was
Yeah.
a Chinese company that owned like an acre or so land in Scotland, but was not established in Scotland or anything like that.
Yeah.
And no, and like Scotland law was like, yeah, no, that's not how becoming a lord or lady works. So you don't just buy a foot by foot land. But anyways, that blew up in a lot of these people's faces because some people made so much money from established titles when this came out. They were throwing more money that people are willing to stick with them. Their entire audience was like, no, you're a scammer now. I don't like you on sub. So
Yeah.
I think you just have to be careful.
Mm.
And when it comes to that, when you're
Yeah, it's
buying
got to be. And this has always been the case, right? I mean, radio's done sponsorships for so many years, right? Where it's like they have to be careful. The personality is also putting their brand attached to this, which means it has to be something they actually use or have some kind of interest in or belief in. Because if you don't, it's exactly what you're describing. It could suck, and then everybody
So
dislikes you because of it, right?
projected spends for influencer marketing for 2023 is subject to should be around just under $5 billion this year,
Wow. Yeah.
which is a lot.
Yeah.
So a lot of that money that was going to TV advertising is now going to this. So sometimes it depends how the influencer is paid is how and what the post is, and of course the audience. So some of these people are paying, $5,000 to $50,000 and $500,000. I think even Kim Kardashian was offered like $2 million just to post a picture
Yeah.
of something
Yeah.
because she has, and people would buy it.
Well,
just 'cause
when
it's Kim.
when people wonder like how does somebody like her become a billionaire, right?
There's
It's
outrageous
this,
things
right?
like
this
that.
is what it is, right? It's trading on your insane
Your
level
vanity.
of popularity and
Yeah.
fame,
So-
right?
This is a great thing. Nano influencers can charge anywhere from $10 to $100 a post. Micro influencers, $100 to $500. Mid-tier influencers, $500 to $5,000. Macro influencers, $5,000 to $10,000. Mega influencers, so I would say those are people who are not like really celebrities, but they have a huge following. $10,000 per post, and then you have celebrities, $1 million plus.
Okay.
Yeah. And ultimately, I think for a lot of brands, those kind of nano and micro influencers, there could be a lot of potential there, right? Because the smaller the following, usually in some cases, there's a more dedicated following, right? Which means engagement rate could be higher among those like smaller, number of followers. And that's particularly interesting if it's like a really niche product, right? So like if you have like a very specific, innovative fishing reel, right, that you're trying to sell, and you want to be in front of only fishermen, that's
Mhm.
what you want to be in front of.
Yeah.
Then going to some nano or micro, influencer that's only in the
Mm.
fishing space and only has people following them that are into fishing, that has a lot of value to you, right?
Yeah.
Now you're 100% in front of the audience that you care about.
Yeah, and that's interesting. And I guess that's a really good way. That's a really good way to market a specific product, a niche product, and and you can do that through YouTube. Like you can target certain accounts with certain ads with your
of
ads
course.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
But going the influencer route means that you're inside the content,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And that's not skippable.
It
Well,
doesn't
it's
feel-
skippable,
You could
but
skip
it
it.
doesn't feel like an ad, right? It feels like it's an ad, but it's built within interesting content, right? So
Yeah.
it feels less.
It's
like an ad.
interesting seeing some of the segues some of these people do.
Mhm.
Like Linus Tech Tips is terrible at it, and they know and they do that on purpose. Like the start of the video, and on to they try to create some sort of hook that has nothing to do with the video they're talking about into their sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so, but then some are a little bit more creative with it.
Yeah, Mr. Beast is phenomenal with it.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the best with his stuff because he makes his sponsorships. He links it into the content, so it's really not an ad. Like it's really part of the thing, and it takes a lot more creativity, it takes a lot more planning, but he plans his videos like if he's gonna have a sponsor, like he did this one video where it was like 100 adults versus 100 kids, and they had to stay in this in these warehouses they built, and whoever had the most people left in the warehouse after 50 hours won, and that was it.
Yeah, they spent what, like $1 million or something.
Wild amount of money.
Yeah.
But part of the video was
The parents won, by the way.
parents won, but
Surprise.
but they started shooting the people in the buildings with Nerf guns that were shooting something, I don't remember, but anyway, he was like, these Nerf guns, Nerf gave us a specific Mr. Beast gun, and like I was just like, this is product. You're getting a lot of money for this.
Yeah, the entire piece of content was written around the product that was being advertised.
Well, no, that was
right?
it was just a part. It was just like they had like a bunch of different challenges.
Yeah.
But one of the challenges was they popped the top of the thing and they just started just shooting.
And
them.
what I mean by that is the creative was built
Yes.
around it, right?
Yes.
So it's so just and that's why he dictates his worth, right?
Yeah, and then I see other like camera people are really bad about their ads because a lot of times they're scripted and they're reading the same script every time, and so you can skip it. Like you can just drag that little your little scrubber past it and you're done.
Yeah.
And like you can entirely skip it. So I feel like Storyblocks has lost a lot of money on like Gerald Undone and Peter McKinnon, because like or I don't know if Peter McKinnon does Storyblocks, but they all do Squarespace.
If we ever grow and we get sponsored and Squarespace approaches, I don't care. We're doing an ad read of Squarespace, because us for a living literally tell people, no, don't use Squarespace or Wix. I can't.
Yeah, and again,
the
that
right-
goes back to believing in what you're hawking to people, right? I mean, there
Yeah.
has to be some
Yes.
degree of like, oh, this is something I actually use, or this is something I actually believe
And
in.
hopefully by that time you guys will just have your own developers.
What's
Your own
what's
stack.
what's the other ad I see all the, like Manscaped as like everywhere.
I don't see
Wanna be a
Manscaped.
man.
I see Squarespace. I see Storyblocks.
Well, you're also watching. I mean,
yeah.
a lot of creative content, right? So
yeah. Creator content.
Yeah.
I see a lot of headphone.
Nothing.
I forget the name.
Athletic Greens
I see that.
all the time.
Those are way overpriced for that. But
I
anyway,
I don't get ads.
well, no, those aren't ads. Those are in video readings. So you're just watching the video, and it's just them. They're segue.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
segue into it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Those exactly. I see ads for that all the time.
Are they good?
I don't know.
The price looks pretty good.
I have Apple AirPods. So
I hate AirPods. I hate Apples. They feel awful in my ear.
what?
Yeah, I don't like them at
I
all.
love
Really?
mine.
I don't like their over ones either. I got Sony MX5s.
And noise canceling gives me migraine.
yeah, you
Really?
can turn down the amount of noise.
There's a
canceling
certain
stuff.
percentage of the population that the noise canceling frequency, because it's a sound.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
gives you a migraine, and I'm just one of those people.
That's crazy.
I don't have that.
That's cool.
Sounds terrible.
I can also
Well, not
also
cool-
lose
not cool
hearing.
you get a
at-
migraine. I'm just saying the technology is cool.
It is cool when I get a migraine. I do love it. But there's actually also a percentage of and I'm in this percentage too, that when you can lose hearing in an ear when you take off or land in an airplane. I can lose it for like 5
So
days.
what's your alternative? You just don't do any noise canceling headphones.
You just don't travel.
No
anymore.
noise canceling.
You
And
just-
what do
you
you
just
I don't
use
turn
use
volume all
I
the
don't
way
use
up.
headphones a lot. I use really good speakers in my office,
Yeah.
and then I use my car, and then I'll play stuff on my like from the speaker on my phone. I just
Yeah.
just don't put things on my ears that
Yeah.
much.
Aaron just has superhuman hearing.
No, pretty deaf. Pretty deaf.
Yeah. So I see ads for these.
What you
all
don't
the
know
time.
is that entire segment right there was
Sponsored.
Sponsored.
But look, but look how many reviews
Sponsored
they
by
have.
Sony not canceling headphones.
9,000.
9K.
Well, it's all
Yeah.
the same product,
All
just
same
different
one.
color. It's just
Yeah.
the color
Yeah.
variation. So, if you're gonna do influencer marketing, it also has to make sense for your business, and also I think your business needs to be more macro as far as from a territory standpoint. Like you can't be so heavily localized because it's not gonna
Yeah.
work because you just be wasting money.
Yeah.
Unless you find like a local influencer, but even then, that's kind of
Well, there are exceptions to that, right? You know, there are local like guides, right? And
Right.
people. So if you were in a restaurant business or you're in hospitality and you can get in with somebody that's really hooked into, in our case, Richmond, Virginia, right? But any major city, there's gonna be
Yeah.
people that have like really
There's-
tight followings.
There's
and-
one here.
Foodies.
It's called the Richmond.
Foodie influencers would be a great
It's
a great-
called the Richmond Experience. They have 103,000 followers on Instagram. I think they're on TikTok. But if you go to the website, they have a pricing structure for businesses to go to where they'll come out to your. Actually, I'll read it right here now.
Sponsored by.
Partner.
Yeah, sponsored by.
Sponsored by
Wait,
Elizabeth
wait a minute,
Repairs.
wait a minute. Are they giving us any money for this read?
No.
is this a free read?
I'll send an invoice. All right. Let's see. A business visit is $599. Sorry, $500, $599. And then they visit your business for 2 hours, $75 an hour for any additional. It includes one Instagram post with a business description photo, and it includes a direct link to your business. That's what you get for $599. And then they have other packages. And they have a ton of businesses that where they, I don't know if they don't, I think you're supposed to say this is sponsored if they give you money from a legality SEC standpoint, which I don't think they're doing, but that's my free advice for these people.
As long as they're willing to put me first.
But that's where the local content can make sense if it makes sense for your business. Like, I don't think this could work for a contractor.
Oh no, yeah, and
Unless it was like a
Yeah. Well, of course you have to be intelligent. Like I think you just have to think about where your ad dollars are likely, where your audience likely is to be visiting.
Yeah.
Like I run ads for my real estate business. I run ads based on people who are interested in home staging, because stagers, like, so it's you could put in someone who's interested in real estate, and you're going to get 500,000 people in the Richmond area.
Yeah.
You can put people who are even you can put realtor, and that really doesn't help you all that much, because you get 1 million people who have got their license at one point, are interested in real estate,
But
love
not actively.
HGTV.
how do you find a real estate agent? Waiter.
Oh god,
Ouch.
Ouch.
so cold.
You're laughing because
But
you
yeah.
know it's true.
But and then if you put in interior design, you're gonna get the same crowd. But
Yeah.
home staging is a very specific industry and interest for people who are not just realtors, but who are willing to put money into their profession.
Yeah.
So that's where I've found a good place to find those specific clients. So I guess it's kind of like thinking in that direction, like where are the actual money makers and spenders within my audience?
Yeah.
What are they actively engaged in,
Right.
and how can I get in front of them?
Right.
And I guess that's what you're looking at with influencers. And I feel like camera companies have done a really good job, because man, there are a lot of people out there buying Fuji cameras right now because influencers are just talking about that.
So
Just talking about them nonstop.
I still think influencer marketing is on an upward trend as far as you're going to see a lot more of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to become, I would say this is like the stupid money. Just kind of like crypto. All the stupid money in crypto is now gone. Now only the thing that's left is the smart money. And eventually you're going to start seeing more people getting paid ridiculous amounts of money to promote something.
Yeah.
And then those companies aren't going to get the results as they would, at least not a decent return on
Expected.
investment.
Yeah.
And then eventually you can see somewhat of a pullback where things will normalize as far as from a pricing structure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happens in anything as far as marketing. Something that's new, hip, hop, whatever, that's becoming like the new trend. Money just comes out the wazoo because it's, that
A little
FOMO.
bit shiny. Let me spend money on it.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's what I like to call stupid money.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually all that money runs out, and then it's just the smart money that's
Yeah.
left over. So I still think we're in that growing phase. There are some influencers, types of influencers that are disappearing.
Yeah, I think the first type of influencer that hit the market with Becky and her butt. Don't know who Becky is, but anyway,
She must
I
have a
feel
really
like
nice butt.
I feel well. That's probably where the followers are coming from.
Subscribe to my OnlyFans.
I feel like those no longer. I feel like the general influencer is becoming less appealing, right? And I feel like specific influencers are where the money probably is, and where there's probably still growth to be had.
In the rights. And
Yeah.
more niche subjects is what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's just like podcasts. So if you wanted to start a podcast now and it was just a podcast about anything, you would get almost no one, right? But the more niche you become, because like all those podcasts that are just talking about anything, like Joe Rogan and Lex Friedman, they started a long time ago and like built up a following. They're talking about
sure.
anything and everything,
Yeah.
right? And there's not a lot of podcasts that
have
can
you
start
tried-
now.
Have you tried DMT?
You've eaten elk.
No.
You've eaten elk.
Yeah,
meat?
elk. Yeah, elk meat.
Elk meat?
Meat eater. That's it, man. I
But
just eat
it
meat.
makes
That's my
sense,
diet.
Because his platform is purely interviewing.
Is what? Interviewing?
Yeah, and that's all. That's still niche. That's all he does is just brings guests on and
I
interviews
don't-
them. So I mean, yeah, they talk about like
But
topics.
the
and, like,
subject is so varied, right?
Well, he gets in like ebbs and flows. Like a lot recently has been like ancient Egypt. I've seen so
he's
many.
obsessed with Egypt.
Like
right now.
I've
Yeah.
become almost obsessed with it. Like
Like-
how we are closer to Cleopatra than Cleopatra was to the creation of the pyramids.
When the pyramids were created, Mammoth was still alive.
So like they had ancient,
Is it-
archaeologists.
Is this like ancient alien shit like
No.
coming on there? Okay.
No.
all right.
No.
Aliens.
It's just like the concept
Aliens.
of time.
Aliens.
Like we have such a like broad concept of like time.
Or
Oh,
they
sure.
You know what
or
I'm
they
saying?
still don't
Right?
know how
Yeah.
the pyramids were built.
Mhm.
Their explanation, like what you learned
we
in
don't
school,
know. Yeah.
We
or
don't
how
know.
they put it on logs and all that stuff and just
We don't
pushed
know.
it. No, it's
were just-
physically impossible.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. I mean, he just talks about they were really good at math and really, really, really.
That's one way to say it.
Well, they were. They
Yeah.
were really
Well,
good
they
at
did-
math, and they were architects of their time. Like for people to go, oh, we can't do that now. Like those architects couldn't build the skyscrapers that we built today.
You know what's wild
So
is
like the engineering behind that is
some
it's
of the structures in South America that could only be viewed from the sky, like that only made sense from the sky.
Yeah, what's
Oh,
the-
yeah.
Like some of those
Yeah.
things, like they were like they're
Because they were building it for the gods, right?
Yeah.
So that's what
This is-
mattered, right?
Yeah.
This is one
But,
hell-
like,
this is
how
one
do
hell
you-
of a segue for
Well,
influencer
see,
marketing.
This
is
is
influencer
what we're talking about.
the pyramids.
Podcasts that talk about random stuff. and nothing.
just are not going to be
This is they're
successful.
just not going to find success.
Freaking terrible.
no one's gonna like this at all.
Gosh.
Conspiracy theories. Gotta shoot down those
So-
balloons.
Again, he was the first person to really do it. But the biggest thing with like with podcasters or even influencer, if you are an influencer and you happen to be watching this, is you just have to stick with it. That's the thing. That's even what Joe says.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just gotta do it.
Just
gotta
gotta
do
do
it.
it.
Just gotta
gotta
do
Just
it.
gotta do it. Actually, you know what? I think that people, and I'm guilty of this from just saying this just now. I think that if you can be engaging with people, I think that's the real key. I think that if you are a person who can be engaging enough for people to be interested in what you have to say, I think that niche matters less than that. Like I think if people
Yeah,
people
well-
find your personality attractive
Yeah.
and like
It's entertainment at the end of the day.
what I've heard some people call like the force of a person, right?
Right.
And like you kind of feel that, like, for instance, I think Peter McKinnon is a good version of this. Peter McKinnon, if you don't know who that is, that's a
What's up, everybody?
he's a camera he's a camera influencer, but he started doing YouTube, and like it was just when he started, it was all about just like, man, you can freaking do it. Like you can leave
Yeah, he was
your
doing primarily
State Farm
vlogs,
job.
too, right?
Well,
Because
he was doing tutorial videos on.
He was doing
photog-
tutorials, but like laced through all of his videos were like, look, get out there and make something incredible. Like it was so inspiring, and I was just like, when I found him at a time when I had left my Starbucks job, and I was just like, let's go.
Just do it.
He was firing you up every morning.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was.
Fired
So, it was very motivating, and I think people connect to Peter McKinnon because like
He's
uh,
Canadian.
yes, no, and just because like he
and
was so engaging.
People, yeah,
Yeah.
there are certain people that can do that, right, and
Mhm.
have that kind of personality for that.
Yeah.
I also think it can be oversaturated, right, and with too many people. I mean, if you think about like in the world of acting,
Mhm.
right, there's only going to be so many that make it and make it big because
Right.
there's only so much that industry allows for.
Yeah,
in the
I'm not
film
saying
industry.
it's easy. Yeah.
And well, that's what I mean is that in the Instagram, the barrier to entry to get into the influencer industry, right? It's relatively low, right? I mean, you create some things that catch on, and then you create attracting an audience, and
Continue to post every single day.
yeah. And so I guess just from a societal standpoint, right? I just would be more hopeful that kids in grade school are choosing career paths or excited about career paths that provide more value for the overall economy and more value for the overall society
Yeah.
than just trading in credibility, right, for a
Yeah.
particular product, right?
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks, right? It is what it is. We need that. There's always going to be that.
And I think a lot of people chase after being the top influencer, in the top 10% or the 20%.
Yeah.
It's actually very misconstrued. If you're like the top 20% in TikTok, that's like 1,000 followers.
Oh wow.
Like it's really
because of how many
how
people
many
are putting out
It's
content.
really not
yeah.
that many. It's
Well,
like the
yeah.
same thing like OF.
Yeah.
Like say, I'm in the 0.1%.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so you made 5 million in a year, but the rest of 90% people on there
Yeah, I
only made
think
like
it's
$100 a
one
month.
one out of 4 women on OF are making those big bucks.
Right.
That means there's 3 other
Yep.
women that are not even
Making less than
anything,
$100 a month.
which is, I don't know what's more
So-
bashing to your destructive to your ego than that. It's like maybe, but
Well,
again,
yeah.
But
I mean,
still,
there's
you're
no doubt
you're
that there
trading
is.
off credibility because that sales funnel is something else because you're the product and you're going Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube funneling it into one area. So now you're trading your credibility on 3 different platforms to funnel one to be the top 10%
for $5.99.
for $5.99. Show them.
Yeah. Well.
So-
a part of
But-
me is just like, hey,
So what you're saying when you
we're
say,
already psychologically warped by the fact that like when we go on social media, we're only seeing like the perfection of
Oh,
what
yeah.
people
so
are
Yeah,
what,
putting
what
forward,
you need
right?
to do is what
So-
you're saying in Hollywood. If you want to become famous, you got to find the Harvey Weinsteins in the world.
Oh my god.
And then who's the Harvey Weinstein in influencer marketing for you to skip right to the
Oh,
top?
my God. See, and here's the thing, and I have a lot of I do have a lot of respect for actors and what they do because it is very challenging, and I have respect for the top influencers and what they do because of the amount of creativity it takes to come up with this content.
I just
right?
don't-
that
Consistently.
entertains
Yeah.
people and keeps people following you. I do have respect for it. I guess
I'm just not gonna.
I
take-
hope aspirationally that future generations can aspire
Contribute to something better.
yeah,
Like
aspire
concrete
for more.
Contribution.
right?
Yeah.
And
Become
and
astronauts.
and I have respect for people in the creative field who create films and documentaries and those kind of things that inspire and move people to take action and do things. But like you're doing pranks in a library, like
Oh my god.
like that.
You're
like,
interviewing people on the street.
yeah,
Oh.
you're
Yeah,
not. You're
like-
not really. Are you really
There-
producing something of value?
Have you guys heard about that? Like you're not gonna see this as much, but there was that one guy who's our age. He joined the military, became Navy SEAL. Got his doctorate's degree, so he's a doctor, and he's an astronaut now.
What's his name? Yeah, I know who you're talking about. And he's like
Kim something.
38. Yeah, Kim something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Have
Yeah.
you heard of that story,
Yeah.
Aaron?
Hmm.
The guy is a Navy SEAL, and like a emergency room doctor, and now an astronaut.
He's doing too much.
That's
Uh,
like
like
that's
Navy
that was
SEal
the top
Johnny
five.
Kim. That's
Johnny
him.
Kim.
That's
Yeah.
him.
That
American
was
Vid-
the top 5 aspirationally
Like,
for like 90s kids.
If you were to
right
ask
there.
a kid, what do you want to be?
in the 90s,
I want to be all those.
All those things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not just one.
He just
This-
followed through.
This dude is like
39.
everything that we hope
Well, I mean,
for
in
in
reality-
American future.
And no one knows his name.
So in
no, I knew
in
it was Kim.
reality
I just didn't know
here,
his first name.
for him to be he joined 18 Navy, graduated a year later. That's 19. Navy SEALs training is 2 years. That's 21. So that's Navy SEAL in 3. And then after that, probably while he was deployed and stuff like that,
I think he did
studying
2
for his doctorate.
he did 2 tours, I believe.
Yeah. So it's
Oh,
it's not
and-
impossible.
Wait, he
Just
also
impossible, but not impossible.
Yeah.
Right.
he also
So-
has a silver star.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he was overseas. Like.
Yeah.
Oh, not everyone gets a silver star.
I mean, you don't want to ask about silver stars or bronze stars for that matter, but it's not impossible. So
Yeah.
like,
I mean that's something that we should hopefully kids in grade school can aspire.
He should be an
aspire to-
influencer.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
or
no
he should
doubt.
start a podcast. I think.
I'm sure he's been on a
But
couple.
if you want to start a podcast nowadays, the way you grow fast is you need to talk about murder. That's literally.
It needs to be the murder podcast.
Yeah, you will
And-
have
or-
women at the wazoo comment.
I'm telling you what. The amount of times I come home and my wife's listening to family secrets where these people have like horrible secrets in their life and they're just like, I think I should talk about this to everyone. I'm just like, how did you get people to do this and agree to it and then just like follow through and tell you everything?
I mean, considering like 30 years ago, talking about your family secrets was like the biggest piece of sacrilege ever.
Yeah.
And how far we've
Well, there's
fallen
the
from that.
boomer generation. I have family members that work in retirement homes, and how many people like confess to murder?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, it's scary. They hold it onto their whole life. Be like, by the way, like, I'm gonna die in 2 weeks, so yeah, I killed my uncle. Like, okay, wow, that's a lot to hold in. All right, Becky.
You know, there was
Go to bed.
so I've heard that if you I've heard that people confess things like that to hitchhikers.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't see why not. You know,
Because, like,
they're
they
not
don't-
gonna
they
know
don't
who
know
you
them.
are. Yep.
They can give them a fake name,
Yep.
but and they say that there was a guy who was a hitchhiker and he was talking. He's saying like in the last couple hours something changes and like the person just like they're like, I'm about to drop this person off. They're about to be there, and they just start spilling everything.
Wow.
And he's like every single time.
It's like confessing your sins.
So you're saying if you wanted to be like a documentarian, like filmmaker, right?
Dress yourself up like a vagabond.
And go out and
Just get it.
just
No.
get
a
Start
camera.
hitchhiking.
No, it's the opposite. You're the guy driving. You have the entire studio in your car, and you just interview the hitchhikers.
Mm.
Well, it sounds
Yeah, but
like
it's the people who
that
are not
driving them. Yeah,
the hitchhikers aren't
it's not the
confessing.
hitchhikey.
It's the people picking up the hitchhikers.
although the hitchhikers probably have a good story too, but they're
Yeah.
probably just like listening more than telling, right?
Yeah.
They're probably like, "Don't kill me."
Yeah.
Or vice versa. You
Yeah.
could be. I mean,
You never
I've
know.
seen Something About Mary, right? Where he picks up the hitchhiker. You guys
I-
haven't seen? Oh,
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
seen it.
Hitchhikers that murder, and then
Says, I got a great idea.
yeah.
You know how the thing 8-minute abs? I got an even better idea. 7-minute abs.
Nailed it.
Well, that's pretty good until somebody comes along with 6-minute abs. What? No, it's 7-minute abs.
Are they wearing Gymshark?
So the
podcast
last-
to talk about random things.
Yeah, so the last 15 minutes of this podcast have really provided no value to a business owner as far as influencer. So at the end of the day, I think if you have a product, not a service, a product, those tend to do better for influencer marketing versus a
Mhm.
service.
Yeah, totally.
Granted,
Yeah.
you have Squarespace and all these other software tools, but and again, that's still somewhat.
I think yeah, and
it's
I think,
very very niche.
and
as
I think
far
it needs to be a national product because like influencers, their audience is
Could be anywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's
I,
like
yeah,
Well,
I
how
mean,
did
so
Stratos
that-
do?
we didn't do influencers.
Okay.
I think some of it.
We
So
didn't have the money,
red flags to look for would be, somebody's got a ton of followers,
but no engagement.
but no engagement, right? Like they're consistently posting, but they're getting terrible engagement, not many comments, or
Or
just
likes.
looking at the comments, right? And sometimes the comments are just not real, and you can tell they're not real, right?
They're just
So-
emojis.
or they say
Yeah.
stuff like so beautiful and it's like this was a camera review. They talked about specs and showed you an image of a testing chart.
Yeah, yeah.
Because data's beautiful.
Because you can buy fake views, you can buy fake comments, you can buy fake likes.
Yep.
Click Farms.
Someone gave me the 100 followers on Instagram the other day, and they were like, "We can give you so many more," and I was just like, "They're all bots." Now I'm gonna have to go in and physically remove those because I'm targeting ads based on the people that follow me. So thanks for making it more expensive.
Way to go. This is why you love people so much.
I hate everyone.
For someone that should be like the nicest guy, he hates everyone
Everyone in
deep
front
down.
of a camera, smile.
Aaron, you're such a nice person. I hate you. So, well,
Ugh.
I don't have anything more to say
Oh,
on this.
man.
So, other than that, our next week's episode, we're talking about product packaging
Cool.
and how that alone is a sales pitch.
Which, by the way, among influencers, you have that's a big part of it, right? Is sending
Unboxing.
your product
Yeah.
to a channel like Unboxing and them unboxing it.
Unboxing.
That's
The,
the
uh,
wildest
The
channel.
AMSR stuff, like shh.
The
Well-
fact that there's a channel that is just
Well,
they just open stuff.
well,
Like they just open
well,
stuff.
I will say this: Unbox Therapy doesn't really dive doesn't really do the whole unboxing experience anymore. It's
Oh.
more like MKBH or Linus
KVH?
Tech. Yeah, they don't like they open the box and the box, and they move on to the product. It's way more product review than it is
Okay.
the unboxing experience. They've kind of divvied away from that. So
As they've grown, I mean, I get
yeah,
that.
they don't
Yeah.
they don't go down to the packaging design or anything like that.
Everybody knows it's just a box.
Yeah, but there is science and marketing advertising techniques behind packaging design that will convince someone to stay on, to
And
keep the box,
and the struggles.
or to sell. Because when you're on a store in
Which-
an aisle,
Which we
how
should,
do you sell that person when you're not physically there to speak
Yeah.
to that person?
Yeah.
That is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I gotta say, Panasonic is killing it with their packaging when the camera arrives.
Sounds
I
like
think
great
that's
Canon-
great.
sounds
Canon
like
looks like
great
you went to a garage
conversation for
sale.
next week.
I think we should save some
Yeah.
stuff for next week, right?
Yeah. All right.
So tune in next week to hear about Panasonic killing it.
And Canon looking like you bought something from a garage sale.
You like that cliffhanger there?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks again. See you guys next week.